This is Observious, bringing you guys another League of Legends commentary, and today I'm going to be taking a jungle alistar with the normal blue route, etc. down the line, and going to be dealing up against a jungle Lee Sin. So that's a little bit interesting, as Lee Sin is a fairly decent pick at higher ELOs. We don't really see him at low ELO so much, just because he's such a high skill cap jungler. Lee Sin, of course, is a fairly easy champion to jungle with as far as his skills, but when it comes to ganking and just playing Lee Sin in general, he just has a lot of skill abilities, so he can be somewhat OP in the right hands, but at the same time he can also be somewhat fail if he's not utilized to his full potential. For example, why I don't play Lee Sin. But they are going to be having, I believe, a Cho'Gath top, which is a Gentleman Cho'Gath, and they're going to have a support Soraka Caitlyn lane, which is fairly scary if Caitlyn's able to just spam those Piltover Peacemakers and is fairly safe. Now, mind you, this is before the sustain nerfs going out to various support champions. Tanky DPS has been having nerfs to their sustain skills in the past few patches for some time, as well as other various champions. But this is pre-rework Soraka, so her damage skills hasn't been buffed, and her heal has yet to get that cooldown hit, as that is happening tonight as I am commentating this replay. So just a warning there. Vladimir is of course going to go ahead and take top, and we're going to go ahead and set up our game plan, which is basically to kill Soraka and then kill whoever's most fed, since they are so very, very tanky. And here you go, you see Brand is probably going to take that mid lane. A little bit interested in the bottom lane. It looks like it's going to be a little bit convoluted of a bottom lane. This is going to be Pirate, aka Gangplank, and Tryndamere on the bottom, I do believe. So that's a little bit of a mishap there, and I'm already somewhat regretting my team comp. As you can see, I saw Gangplank, I saw Jarvan, neither of them were jungling, and they wanted to me to tank, so I took alistar. Since I always picture Jarvan as a tanky DPS, but apparently he's a tank according to some people, so maybe he's a tank. Not in this game though, since he's rushing a Triforce. And so I go ahead and took Jungle Ali. I don't know if it was the best decision. Probably would have taken maybe Fiddlesticks, or even try my silly face Jungle Ash, but looks like Tryndamere is going to go ahead and just run up to Caitlyn and auto attack her a bunch. But when Soraka shows up, Caitlyn's going to go ahead and flash and get first blood on Tryndamere, and so that is going to be that. We probably would have been able to kill Tryndamere, but because Soraka showed up, definitely not going to happen. Well, Gangplank and Jarvan were talking about who's going to solo what and where, why, how, and it looks like Jarvan is finally going to go ahead and just take over that solo lane, hence why Pirate's running down here. And he's going to go ahead and get down here without losing any experience except for one dead minion from the auto attacks. And of course level 2, and I'm going to go ahead and take heal over headbutts, since I don't really plan on ganking any of the lanes. Cho'Gath is fairly tanky. Vladimir, he's got his pool, so I'm not in too much of a rush to run out to the lanes. And I'll at least get level 3 before I do anything along those lines. Brandon getting pushed against Vladimir, and that's a fairly interesting turn of events, since Vladimir is relatively easy to harass up until 7-9, when he can be able to really spam that Q, as just auto-attacking him twice does more damage than his Q. Then again, you have to watch out for that minion aggro. Here I am going to go ahead and just grab all of that. I did switch my jungling page to that quote-unquote Gragas page, is I believe what it's called at the moment, where I have flat AP blues, flat AP quints, flat armor yellows, and flat damage marks. That's been my main jungling page for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and headbutt Vladimir and knock him up, but you can see that simultaneous flashes, by the way. You can see that there was a little bit of lag there, and that's not from the replay, that is from the actual recording. And so Brand's going to go ahead and say that, yep, he had the same little bit, and so a little bit sad there. Meanwhile, bottom lane's getting harassed to pieces, but Caitlyn's been exhausted. She's at really low. Pirate could die though, and nope, he's going to go ahead and make it out okay, since I did run into the lane, and so there's going to be a double kill down here for for Team Blue, and they're going to be able to recall and be just fine. Tryndamere looks like he's going to go ahead and stay in lane, just Bloodlusts and a potion. I'm going to go ahead and say surprise in all chat. I'm going to be like, oh, hey, I have no golems. And everyone is going to go ahead and freeze for the time being. This is going to be for a little bit. And again, remember, a little replay is from the player's perspective. And no, I didn't disconnect, but Soraka did. So I'm lagging. It's going to go ahead and get called. I'm going to go ahead and reply that, yep, me too. Gangplank's going to go ahead and complain about the server, or at least say this server. So we are up 2 kills to 1, so that is fairly good. More delay going on right here. And Brand's, of course, going QQ. Wow, if I die. Soraka, meanwhile, has reconnected, so that is interesting. Vladimir coming up to the mid lane. I mean, not Vladimir, Caitlyn coming up to the mid lane, eating up some of that Brand harassment. I'm of course going to take this opportunity to go ahead and get red buff. I haven't really seen Lee Sin yet in any of the lanes, so interested in on what all he's doing. Sometimes you'll see this where junglers just jungle, so I'm guessing he's rushing to level 6 so he can use that kick to gank. And it looks like Caitlyn is going to go ahead and return to the bottom lane. Although Vladimir is also missing, so possibly they are just getting red buff. But what? Caitlyn ran from the middle and looks like she wanted to come in and take my red buff. I'm of course hiding over here trying to bait her, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, and so I'm going to go ahead and leave. Vladimir now entering the jungle just to see if anyone's chasing, and Caitlyn's going to go ahead and nope, Tryndamere revealed himself just a little bit too early. She should be able to get away, but no, maybe not. And so I'm going to go ahead and actually steal that with a headbutt with almost no mana, and I'm going to turn around. And that was not really intentional at all. I'm going to go ahead and apologize here in a little bit. And we really do need to get Tryndamere more items, as he is a endgame carry. And that's basically big words for I am very item dependent. So Lee Sin showing his face via the ward and go ahead and be moving towards the bottom lane. He's going to see if he's going to be able to do anything. He does land that Q onto Tryndamere, but he does go ahead and spin. It doesn't look like he's slowed though. Meanwhile, of course, Lee Sin is due to Gangplank's passive. And I don't know. Soraka is forced to flash out, but Lee Sin did jump in, and Tryndamere's going to go ahead and spin. Not certain if he's going to be able to get the kill. No, he's going to go ahead and have to back off. And Caitlyn ghosting and flashing. Been seeing a lot of ghost flash Caitlyns. I believe there was one in the last game I uploaded. You can see she's really eager. Gangplank's going to go ahead and recall. I mean, not recall, but get back out of range. And so they're going to be doing a 3-man push bottom. Tryndamere sticking around in the lane. Gangplank, of course, eating oranges to keep himself up in there. And Soraka going to be just spamming heals on everyone involved, and she does already have her Philosopher's Stone, so she's going to be okay. It looks like they'll be okay, although, oh, no, Tryndamere eating a little bit too many shots. You did see him, like, skip a little bit there, and Caitlyn's going to be able to throw down her Peacemaker and get a double kill. So, the favors has been returned from the earlier gank on the bottom lane, and it is going to be 3-3. And of course, Gangplank's going to complain that the minions were blocking him there. Meanwhile, look, the bats are all laughing at Gangplank. Ha 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 ha. Not every day you see the minions, and in fact, a lot of the bats are going to go ahead and start vanishing. I've, of course, gotten blue buff since I got picked up by an enemy clairvoyance. I didn't want to stick around since mid was missing, and so was the jungler, maybe. Cho is, of course, going to go ahead and ghost. I'm going to go ahead and let that happen. He is getting zoned. I'm not really up. I did leech 1 minion's worth of experience, but I made Cho back off. He is going to go ahead and scream to get that last hit. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about how the top lane is warded, since Cho did burn a ghost as soon as I popped up around there. I'm going to be looking to get something off versus Vladimir. Not going to be able to see it since he's up on that side, and so I'm going to go ahead and instead take the enemy wraiths. And remember, Lee Sin does love to play a good old wraith bit, but since everything's on cooldown, I can't really do anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and headbutt Lee Sin. He's going to pop his Q. I'm going to dare him to chase me, and you can see that right as it wears off, instead of heading off towards that ramp, I'm going to head up top and try to get better positioning for Cho. While that is going on, it looks like there was a trade going on where Gangplank died but Soraka and Caitlyn died with it. Meanwhile, I come in and I headbutt Joe from behind, pop up a Q, but remember Jarvan wasn't really in position, and with that well-landed Rupture, I'm just going to go ahead and take a lot of minion hits there as I was slowed, and going to go ahead and back off for now. But trying to help out the lane as best I can. Jarvan's already up level 8 to level 7, but that's because Joe has gone back when Jarvan didn't. As you can see, that Jarvan does have a regrowth pendant, but Joe does have a Dorn's Ring and cloth armor. So he is going to be a little bit behind whenever he does recall, which he should recall soon since the lane is pushed. But we'll see. Brand being really aggressive versus Vladimir needs a Piltover Peacemaker, nearly steps on that trap, and stuns Caitlyn. Not able to really do too much with that though, eating a bunch of free auto attacks. The Peacemaker lands, but there doesn't really seem to be that many points in it, and Brand could probably kill her if it wasn't for the fact that he had no mana. And here comes Lee, coming into this little side bush. It looks like he dropped a ward over here. Just to see who is exactly in the lane, I'm of course going to go ahead and headbutt and turn on my ultimate. And I really want to kill Caitlyn, but she is going to go ahead and turn on my 90 caliber net, so instead I'm just going to go ahead and run away. Meanwhile, Jarvan's saying, hey, let me go back. Gangplank and Trend, of course, can go ahead and take the opportunity to just dive poor Soraka. Don't know if Tryndamere used his ultimate there, as he did just hit 6. But I'm just going to go ahead and it happen when Soraka is left alone versus a fairly evil bottom lane, as Tryndamere can dive with his ultimate, basically becoming invincible for 5 seconds, and Gangplank can of course just lay on the slows repeatedly. And of course Tryndamere can of course spin out of turret range, so really good combo there for diving at least. Joe getting some stacks over there, he's up to 4 stacks already. He really needs to recall, and so Tryndamere is going to go ahead and cover Jarvan's recall. Brand and Vladimir being at basically invisible lines, although they're getting relatively close here. Sure enough, Brand is going to go ahead and land his E. He misses his pillar though, but does manage to stun and does pop his ultimate onto Vladimir, but it does pop up mainly onto the minions and doesn't really bounce off back to Vladimir, so he's not able to do too much. Now mind you that Vladimir is level 8 and he does have a revolver, so he is definitely doing well. Plus Caitlyn is giving that Emblem of Valor aura, and so that's just going to give him even more health regeneration. And so I don't know if this was planned for them to be landing together, hence that Emblem of Valor or what, but Caitlyn is of course going to go ahead and get caught out of position, and that will be that for them. And I'm going to go ahead and go after Vladimir, but he is going to go ahead and turn on his pull, and I'm not going to be able to really do too much there. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Gangplank is dealing with a Lee Sin Soraka attack on him, and so he's going to be running for his life. He does have the cooldown reduction boots and a Sheen, so definitely using the Sheen procs to get a little bit more damage there, and of course cooldown reduction is always nice for even more parlays, but more importantly, more eating the oranges, and maybe most importantly, depending on how often you spam it, the Gangplank ultimate. I don't know, cooldown reduction just seems nice on Gangplank, but not necessarily something you spam. And there of course you can see Lee Sin using his W to shield Soraka and get out of there, and because of that I believe that that section is warded, and Lee Sin emerging out of the brush does in fact confirm it, and so I'm really tempted to just headbutt Lee Sin, but nope, he doesn't want to walk into my trap, but I guess I was going to go ahead and Q him. But since I go ahead and get spotted, Tryndamere and Gangplank can go ahead and just destroy Caitlyn despite the fact that she has a minion guard. I'm going to go ahead and flash. And this was a bit of a mistake on my part since I forgot that headbutt does go through the walls. Lee Sin, of course, is going to get caught in the Gangplank ultimate. The W should be okay, but I turn on my ultimate, so I'm taking the tower, I believe. So he's going to go down. I'm just taking tower hits. My ultimate's worn off. I need to get out of there, and that minion could kill me, so I'm going to go ahead and smite it. And it looks like Soraka is going to out-tank Gangplank and Tryndamere. I've of course gotten away with very little health there during that dive. Brand and Vladimir are dueling it out, and it does look like it's fairly close. Brand was eating that Cannon Rider's cannonballs, I guess. At the same time, though, Jarvan is diving Cho'Gath and does manage to pick off the kill on the big bug Cho'Gath. And so he's a happy panda. He does have his first gold for 5 item, the Philosopher's Stone. He looks to be wanting to build a Heart of Gold, so that'll be another gold 5 item for him. But while he can, instead of going back, he's going to go ahead and push the lane since Lee Sin was seen down here. And blue buff is up. That's interesting. So I'm wondering where Lee Sin is exactly. However, it looks like Vladimir, in the meantime, was able to pick up the kill on Brand, and he does leave the burn marks down on him. So that is that. Gangplank's stuck in a bit of a bad spot as he's going to be having to deal with Caitlyn and Soraka. Tryndamere, meanwhile, is taking the red buff, so whenever he does get that, this heavily extended lane will probably get killed. But until that time, Gangplank needs to focus on staying alive, and he is eating free auto attacks from Caitlyn. He's forced to use his oranges just to heal. And Tryndamere does go ahead and step on a trap, get silenced by Soraka, but he's still able to spin and throw down the slow. Gangplank throwing out his ultimate to slow them down even more. Flash is going off by 3 champions out here. And Tryndamere's going to go ahead and just pop his ultimate. He is silenced, so he can't really do much of anything, and because of that, he can't pop his Bloodlust and is killed by Soraka. Gangplank forced to use a defensive flash, and so now all 4 flashes have been used in the bottom lane. At the same time, I go in and just cover the top lane versus Cho'Gath. As Jarvan's left, I'm trying to deny feast stacks, but it's not quite working. Soraka throwing down her wish, and that's because Jarvan's shown up to the party, hence why he's not in the top lane. But he's not really able to do anything, and that Soraka does have red buffs, so that's going to be even tougher to deal with. At the same time, Brand is pushing up his lane versus Vladimir. Not too certain what's going on there. Meanwhile, I'm kind of running out of mana. Cho'Gath trying to be sneaky and land a Rupture from the side bush. Not really going to fall for it. But I am slowly losing it. I didn't really have to Q there. I only did it because I was thinking I was going to get this minion too. Didn't quite work out. Of course, going to ask for someone to come top, but that's not going to be happening anytime soon, as Tryndamere is ganking a red buff Lee Sin, and Brand is going to go ahead and land the stun onto Lee Sin and the pillar, and with that spin from Tryndamere, and of course the main damage from that pillar, he is going to go ahead and go down. Meanwhile, Gangplank's telling Tryndamere to go, so that's a little bit interesting. Meanwhile, I believe Cho just knocked me, but I could be wrong. But I really need to recall at this stage in time, as I'm just a few auto attacks from death, or a good scream, although that is of course on cooldown. And Tryndamere is going to go ahead and cover the top lane, as I recall. Brand coming up as well with that red buff. And at the same time, of course, the Gangplank Jarvan 4 lane are able to pick up the kill on Soraka and Gangplank under the tower, very likely due to a good old Jarvan 4 arena ultimate. But again, I'm just missing the action. At the same time, it looks like Tryndamere and Brand are able to pick the kill onto Cho'Gath right before Vladimir. Is that even how it's spelled? Call? I don't even know. I don't believe so. Possibly though. But with that lovely minion attacking Brand, he was able to get multiple bounces off onto that Vladimir. And so that is going to be that. They pick off Cho at the tower. Brand takes out Vladimir fairly alone, and we're going to go ahead and give blue buff to Brand, and that should be happening in one more auto attack. There it goes. So we're going to have a double buff Vladimir, and of course Gangplank's going to go ahead and just say no ban on Gangplank and good game, even though he's not doing really the best on the team. They are up 15 kills to 9. He's even going to go ahead and say he's not doing too well. And I'm going to go ahead and suggest that we just push off mid these minions and then go do Dragon while they kill off the minions. But that doesn't look to be the case. We really want to kill this mid tower. At the same time, I'm going to be running into Soraka, so I'm going to headbutt her. I'm going to Q her when that starts running off, and she's going to go ahead and start running off towards the blue buff. So I'm going to go ahead and back off. Brand's looking to get in on the action, but he is really low health. He has double buff, and I don't really want him to give that up. Looks like Caitlyn was picking up the blue buff for their team. I'm going to go ahead and Q, and with that, Caitlyn's going to go down from the Brand damage. We really need to keep an eye on this guy, as he is fairly low, but he has 2 buffs. He's fairly fed, and looks like Brand is going to be moving in onto Lee and Soraka, but we're going to have to back off, as we have no idea who's up here. At the same time, though, Jarvan and Gangplank are going to go ahead and pop an ultimate, and so they're going to be fighting Lee Lee Sin and Soraka, while Alistar and Brand do go ahead and do Dragon, and they're able to pick up the kill onto Lee, but Soraka's going to go ahead and flash under the tower, so she'll be okay. Not certain who's going to be winning this top fight of Tryndamere versus Cho'Gath. But we were able to pick up Dragon fairly easily. I did take that Wriggle's Lantern, so that lifesteal, armor, and damage, plus Alistar's E makes him fairly able to solo Dragon, although it does take a fairly long while, of course. So that is a bit of an issue with him. But with Brand, it went fairly quickly. But he doesn't need mana, so he's probably going to go ahead and recall sometime soon. Look at Jarvan, he is going to go ahead, instead of getting that Heart of Gold, going to be getting that Frozen Mallet instead, so he has a fairly good amount of health, he's tanky and all of that stuff, and the CV is of course going to go ahead and pick up Gangplank, so he's going to go ahead and push while he can. Rupture going to go ahead and get thrown down, but it's not really going to hit anybody, and Brand's of course waiting for Caitlyn to push up like she's doing right now so he can ambush her. And the tower's going to go ahead and take some hits, and he's going to go ahead and land the stun and the pillar, and auto-attack Caitlyn to death. That is going to go ahead and be that. He's going to miss out on some last hits, but I would say that that is worth it. Lee Sin and Vladimir coming in to gank Pirate, so he's running for his life. Soraka coming out to heal whatever damage is done, and Lee Sin, I believe, kicked Pirate, and didn't quite kill him, so he's going to get away with 70-80 health. Now there are going to be 4 champions pushing that top lane, so we're going to be having a bit of a team fight here, but it is a 4v2, so not certain if they're going to stay or go. I'd push if I were them, but Brand's going to go ahead and use his ultimate, ideally onto 2 champions. Brand's even going to go ahead and go so far as to drop this pillar. He has leveled up, so he's going to be getting that catalyst health and mana regeneration over time for a little bit. As well as, of course, having that blue buff. I'm just going to go ahead and really hard. I see the tower's low, so I'm kind of wanting to kill the tower. But we dive into the tower, thinking I'm really low, so I need to get out of there. I flash, and I get out with 11 health, and that's popping my heal right before the bullet hits from the tower. And at the same time, we are able to pick up a kill onto Cho'Gath and Lee Sin, I believe. Pirate's coming up to support, but they are fairly low. Pirate needs to intercept. No, he's not going to. He's going to go ahead and live, though, at 188 health. He's going to get picked off. He's going to go ahead and back off. I'm telling them to leave since they have sustained, and we are really, really low. Vladimir chasing Gangplank. Pirate could possibly go ahead and die here. Brand's going to go ahead and throw his ultimate at Vladimir, but it doesn't really bounce, but it doesn't matter because Vladimir does go ahead and die in a nasty comic book death. And at the same time as all of that's going on, Jarvan was pushing the bottom lane and was able to pick up another tower. So blue team is going to go ahead and be up 3 towers to 0, and the kill is going to be 21-9. So things are looking fairly good for the blue team. Gangplank going to be pushing the minions off the tower while Soraka gets on some auto attack hits. Gangplank could probably move up onto Soraka and maybe kill her, but with Caitlyn known to be there, that turns down to from probably to a no. But Jarvan's coming up. He does have his arena. He is ghosting, but doesn't look like he is going to make it in time. And he does have Stark's the Stark's Forever armor reduction. It looks like he's just going to go ahead and take the tower with his Frozen Mallet. And we're going to go ahead and kill the tower. But Jarvan 4 gets really low, but does step on a Caitlyn trap. I go ahead and W and use Soraka. Caitlyn's going to go ahead and dive on the Gangplank ultimate, exhausting auto attacks of him. But Soraka is going to go ahead and get away for herself. So that's a little bit sad. Cho'Gath's going to land a good old double rupture. I'm going to go ahead and knock back Cho'Gath. Although he does get the silence off on me, and I see a 3rd champion sitting around over here, which is of course going to be Lee Sin. He's going to go ahead and land his Q on a minion. And now he's a little bit worried. The Vladimir ultimate going off, and it's not the Vladimir, the Brand ultimate going off, not really killing anybody, but doing what it can. But he's going to be looking to come around for the kill. And something to realize is that Soraka's heal doesn't give extra magic resistance, just extra armor. So if you have a fairly decent AP team, aside from just doing burst damage in general, Soraka's not going to be doing too much, although that passive will give her a stronger early game. I'm of course going to get away with fairly low health again. Gangplank going to be able to pick up Soraka with a parlay right before he gets picked up by Cho'Gath, and now Brand is forced to ghost away. He does have a catalyst healing him up, or did a second ago. So I guess that little buff ended. Tryndamere, however, at the same time is coming after Lee Sin point blank versus several champions. Lee's even going to take the time to Brand is going to go ahead and die, but not before he kills Caitlyn, and that'll be a 1-for-1 trade. He's going to go ahead and laugh at that. Meanwhile, Soraka's going to go ahead and claim that it's terrible that she is the only one on the team that has a brain, and Gangplank's going to sympathize and say that it's tough being a support on solo queue. And the surrender vote is going to go ahead and fail for purple. 2-2-3. I'm guessing Soraka is one of them, but we won't know for sure. And Brand is going to go ahead and push off this top minion wave. You're seeing that red dot on the minimap. That is in fact just a snap trap, which has a cupcake in the middle of basically a bear trap. And so if you step on it going, cupcake, you will in fact get rooted in place, take some damage, and be visible to the enemy for a few seconds after stepping onto the trap. Buffs are getting pinged all over the place, so basically this is the good old take all of their stuff strategy. So we're going to be visiting all the buffs very shortly. Vladimir getting spotted taking the blue buff, so we should be able to close in on them, but Jarvan's being really aggressive over here. And so it looks like there's going to be a big team fight going on over here while Vladimir tries to take blue buff. I'm not even going to look over there. I'm more interested in this little fight going on right here. I see Vladimir can do a fairly decent amount of damage to me. And what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and just hang around here, headbutt him, step back in the bush. He's going to go ahead and get a Q off on me. I believe that might have been because of the passive damage, but now I think he has a ward in here. I'm going to go ahead and headbutt him again. And I think he's going to finally leave. You know, at the same time, we are able to pick up 2 kills, one on Joe, one on Lee Sin, with the rest of my team. And I'm of course going to go ahead and finally take this blue buff. And the reason why I was just sort of sitting around bumping Vlad around was I didn't really want him to use his ultimate on the team while they were walking around, because that's basically the big thing that Vladimir has going for him. His damage really isn't that good unless he's fed. And Tryndamere are going to die from that very last tower hit, and so he's going to be very sad. And Jarvan's going to go ahead and recall with barely health. Lee trying to push people off of the inhibitor, not quite working. We're going to go ahead and get the inhibitor and walk out. I believe. Could be wrong. Maybe we're going to stay. I don't think we should, especially with Brand silenced. But he's trying to do something to that Lee Sin. It's not going to go ahead and happen. And there's going to be 2 wards at Dragon. I missed that earlier. I warded Dragon. Jarvan ran up and warded Dragon. And he said something witty in the chat, but that was a while ago. But main game are going to go ahead and secure Dragon. Brand's going to recall, I believe. Or a little bit of lag's going to go on. And he's just going to go ahead and run over to Baron and then disappear. And Baron is definitely an option, although I'd rather wait until we have killed at least one of them before doing so. Caitlyn looks like she wants to come ahead and go to blue, but she's not going to find anything because I already stole it. Meanwhile, a huge minion wave from purple is going to go ahead and push up on that bottom tower, so you have to watch out for that. At the same time, Tryndamere is, of course, getting caught taking the red buff. Find out if he's okay or not. At the same time, Gangplank, of course, did earlier kill Caitlyn, so he could probably Baron right here. I'm of course going to go ahead and try to my ultimate and tank. Getting focused. There's Soraka on the side. What's it coming from behind? I'm just going to try to pick her off. I'm tanked, and now I'm going to go ahead and get out of there. And it looks like Jarvan is able to just clean up. We're going to get Cho'Gath over here. While Tryndamere is able to pick up Soraka, and Jarvan is able to pick up the kill onto Cho'Gath. If we go ahead and look, they haven't even been able to kill Jarvan, who is 707, or me, who is 109. I'm fairly proud of myself for dying so far in this game. And even worse, Brand and Jarvan are going to be able to take down at least 1 Nexus Tower, possibly 2, maybe not, with the fact that these minions are spawning. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and surrender 4-2-0. And so that is going to go ahead and be the game. I pretty much agree with the surrender, as blue team was fairly far ahead in this game. possibly they might have been able to come back, but the way that they weren't really able to kill me, and they were just focusing me a little bit too much, I just couldn't really see it. And so, that's game 12. I'll see you guys in game 13, and this is Observious signing out.